Hey guys, welcome to another stream from Model Mania. Tonight we're going to be looking at the Ecto 1. Hey Donnie, welcome. You just made it. I'm going to be looking at my progress on the Ecto 1. I've been working on this for several months. I started it when it first came out, which was about last February. Right now I'm waiting on issue 12. I have issue 11 that we're going to be working on tonight. Issue 10, up through issue 10 is done, which is mainly just the motor, the wheels, the chassis. Lots still to go on this. It's actually a 25-part build. And if I know Eagle Moss, they're going to extend it. Or, yeah, 25-month build. And if I know Eagle Moss, they're going to extend it. And there's going to be additional issues. I'm hoping, and like with the Ecto 1, or not the Ecto 1, with the DeLorean, I didn't do the additional issues because all it was really was the hood box and the train tracks and different wheels. A lot of money for just those parts. That's not Christmas lights. That's Goofy caught up in the, well, it is fairy lights, but that's Goofy caught up in the lights. He's been that way since forever. He's in my shop. That's how it goes. So there, Eric. But no, on the DeLorean, they did about $600 extra on the additional packs that they did. Exactly, bud. And it wasn't worth it. It was just some tracks and the hood box. If they do extra issues on the Ecto 1, which I hope they do, hopefully they'll build it into the Ecto 1A, and I will gladly do that. So let me switch it over to the top-down camera just to give you an idea of how big this thing is. This is my 1/25th scale Ecto 1A. This is the Ecto 1. And of course, everybody who knows me knows that there's a lot of lights going on the 1A. So let me make sure that this one is working. And we'll switch over, if I get my fingers out of the way, to my droid cam. And so that's the 1A. Built that one years ago. It is a lot of money, but I'm glad that I can afford to buy these things. I mean, trust me, they keep me on the ragged edge of disaster. But yeah, if you look, this is done, the Ecto 1 here, with the flasher board. Eric will like that. Those LEDs are they're rapid change 3mm LEDs. This is what was available when I built this thing in 2015. I will probably be building another one. Earlier tonight, I had this light and this light out. I was really unhappy because of, this is not a very old kit really as far as the lights. But, this is what I do when I get really excited with lights. Inside here are 50/50 SMDs. I want to say there's like 10 of them in there wired in parallel. It's just, I had a good time. And I don't think you can see it. I may take a picture of it sometime, but inside here is actually the only car electronics that's in here. I want to say that's either a flasher or no, it's a flasher. It's a flasher for these lights up here. I figured it'd look cool back there as part of the electronics. So let me go ahead and shut this off and move it off to the side. And I'm going to switch back to the top camera so that I can show you the rest of the parts, because this is not all the parts that are here. Yes, ghost damage, not battle damage. It's actually kind of amazing because this is before I learned anything about future on the Ecto 1A. Before I learned anything about future, the paint's yellowed a little bit, but I still love that model. And Bud, I can't adopt anybody. I'm getting ready to retire. I don't think, Spence, I don't think it's a DC to DC. I don't think it's a buckboard because I didn't have any reason to wire it for a buckboard. Although you might be right, it could be a buckboard for the step down to the DC, and then underneath the hood is where the flasher is. I don't remember. It's been that long ago. So back to this one. Additional parts that I've gotten so far are the hood, and there's a lot of people that are complaining because you've got screws here that aren't in the actual thing. There are parts that you can buy, replacement parts that you can buy, but I'm not thinking I'm going to buy these grills here and replace them for like 30 to 40 bucks with 2 pieces of plastic. For me, it's just fine. I mean, the detail on this hood is really, really good. This was one of the first pieces you got. A lot of screw holes on the back here, so there's a lot that's going to be going on there. So, and actually, before I put the hood away, still not completely sure. I think this will go on like that. It might actually attach to the hood like this. Haven't gotten there yet, but I know that there's no screw holes under here to match up, so I'm pretty sure it goes on here like this. Then got one other part other than the chassis, and that's the grill. I love the way that grill looks. Thanks, bud. The one major complaint that a lot of people have had is the way that this license plate is. I don't know if you can see it. There. You see how the line only goes around 2 sides? That actually matches what is on screen in the movie. This would be a piece of metal over top of the rest of the license plate. They're replacing this license plate with a one that the lines go all the way around. It'll be coming with my next shipment, and as you can see, they didn't do as much with the lights as they can. There's already aftermarket kits out there to put a flasher in here and in here, and then the fog lights currently are not lit. There's no holes in the back of them. The headlights are lit. Let me see if you can, there you can see there. You see the holes for the I believe it's going to be 3mm or LEDs that'll go in there. The headlights will be lit. Not sure if I'm going to go back and drill the holes in these as well as in these to put lights in there. I might. I actually tend to leave these kits pretty much stock because when they come, they look really good to me. This will actually sit on here about like that. Let me roll it back so you can actually see it. And, you know, fantastic build so far. Let me switch over to the other camera and see if I can get any of the detail in the engine compartment for you. Of course, the problem with Droid Cam is, oh, there, focused. Yay. So each of those little wires, if you want to call them those came cut. I had to thread them through there. I had to attach them where they're at down there, down on the cylinder head, on the, I think that's the alternator here. You got the battery. A lot of good detail in here. A lot of detail that once you close it up, you'll never see it again. Love these builds like this. A lot of things that go into them that, you know, it's extra. There's the front grille, or where the front grille will go, the radiator. The horn is actually here. I think that's, not sure what that is. You can see there's a lot of dust on it. And then these are actually these tie rods here are actually threaded on the ends. See if I can get that to focus on there. Come on. Well, it's threaded on the end here, just pushes through here. You can see that they're not locked in place here. That one is actually sticking out a little bit. So let me set this down for a second. Yes, I know it just got dark. Roll this up on its side. Some of this was a little bit exciting because it was difficult to get the underbody done. And it's kind of funny because you see the drive shaft there goes into the differential. That piece of plastic, that's all it does. The motor doesn't turn. The differential doesn't turn. It's just there for extra detail that you may or may not ever see again. And you can see the brake lines. That was a lot of work to do some of them. Something just, let me show you one more thing before I'm going to set the chassis aside. Come on, focus. I don't think you can see it real well. Let me switch cameras. Maybe I can get it when I lay it up, put it up on its side again. Maybe I can get the top down to show the actual, and this is heavy, guys. Actual Cadillac logo in there. Interesting thing about this build too. Yeah, pretty much. About the same amount of work as Ray said it needed. Interesting thing about this build, and no, it's just this one so far, is that barcode there, I can scan that because this is actually through, they've licensed it through GM, so GM has quality control. GM wants to know if parts are bad, GM wants to know about it so that they can get it fixed. Really kind of cool from them. Let me set this over here. I'm setting it on the table in the middle of the shop real quick, guys. I don't think I need it, but I might. Okay, and one thing that Eagle Moss has done this time, which I really think is cool, with the DeLorean, I would get four packs of parts, 4 magazines. Now, all the parts, the 4 packs of parts come, if you have the subscription, you get all your instructions in one magazine. Makes it a lot easier to store the magazine, because I am keeping these magazines, probably about forever. And inside you've got your content, you've got contents of each pack, the build itself, and then miscellaneous information from the movies. And not only from the movies, like some of it I think is about the actors, the producers, things like that. And then here on the back, issue 12, these are the parts I'm waiting for right now, which is the dash. And these are actually on the back of the book are the parts that are in this pack, or in this issue. So, let's go ahead and flip open to stage 35, which is the battery box. Battery box on this is coming way earlier than it did on the DeLorean, which is great, because I couldn't test the DeLorean until it was about 95% built. And again, I'm going to apologize ahead of time, guys. A lot of these parts are going to be black. I'm not sure how much you're going to be able to see with them. Where is my knife there? Nope. Glue looper. I I know I've got a blade around here. I had to rearrange to be able to get this all on the bench, so bear with me while I find my find an X-Acto or other implement of destruction. Box cutter works just as good. So just like the other builds I've got, they always come in these bubble packs. I just realized something. One thing I forgot to do was get out the rest of the Ecto 1, which main reason I need it is on, and I left you guys, didn't show you guys some stuff that I've done, because what they also do with these builds is they'll give you things called their special edition parts. No, bud, it comes painted completely the way it is. People do paint them. I'm not going to. My Millennium Falcon, I did a little bit of weathering on it. I did a little bit of painting on it. But I don't do a whole lot of painting on something I pay this much for. And sorry I missed that question, bud. It is 1/8 scale. So, back to the specials. In the first special, they sent the parts for the ghost trap. Unfortunately, no power to it. It would be really cool if it did have power to it. Actually, I've rearranged things to get this thing on the bench. There. My white envelope I keep here so that I can get it close. So you've got the ghost trap. Come on. Pretty good detail on there. I wish it was lit. It would be so cool to have that light come on. This is small enough that I'm not going to mess with it. And you can see these actually screwed together. This spring part was really, on the ghost trap, was the only separate part to it. And then it also came, that special came with 4 proton packs, which will eventually go in the back of the car, and you don't have to get these. But I would like, it wouldn't be the Ecto 1 without it. One of the things about this, there's a lot of people who are putting ribbon tape, doing a lot of modifications to it. One of the things I've seen several people modify is here on the side, because as it came, just the gun itself will actually just flop all over the place. That's the way it actually came. I've seen people make little brackets and everything else for right here to hold it up against the body of the gun. But if you look right there, I was like, why go to all that effort? I'm lazy by nature. I think most of us are. What I did is, that's a neodymium magnet. There's another one inside there, and I can flip it around and it'll stay just about perfect like that to hold it, and it looks like it did in the movie. I want to say, I'm showing my okay, danger. So it goes upside down like that, so actually, the Ghostbusters could reach back and grab it just like that. Did that to all 4 of them. I'm kind of proud of that. That was a little bit of effort on my part. That was premium pack number 1. And they're supposed to be once a quarter. They're more like every 2 months they want more money from you. Premium pack number 2, which I already had, because I bought it when I first got my subscription, was the boys. The Ghostbusters themselves. I will not be opening these. I don't care about the value. I just like the way they are. And the likenesses are pretty good. Let me see. That's Egon. And I can't get it to focus really good. That looks just like Bill Murray. Winston Zedmore. And Ray. What is silly is what they did with these. These would be really cool if they were 1/8 scale. They're not, they're 1/16. But they're still nice to have. The third special that they did, I opted out of because I did not need a $45 print. Unframed, just a print of the Ecto 1. It came with a larger and better, I think, picture of it. And yeah, Bud, the extras are, it varies. The figures were $80 extra. The Proton packs were 24, I think, either 24 or 48. The print was 48, which I said I didn't want that. This was the latest one. I was like, why not? For 13 bucks, I'll get this thing, because what it is, actually $13.50, receipt sitting inside it. What it is there are things wrong in the pictures that you can look through and find. I probably will never hunt them all down. Like right here, movie mix-ups, 5 more items from the sequel hidden in this scene. You know, just stuff that goes along with the build. I think that some of it I want, some of it I don't. Not sure what the next special is going to be, but you know, some of these things are not, they're specials, but they're not. This I paid $13.50 for. It's available through Amazon for $14.50. The dolls I paid, or dolls, figures, whatever you want to call them, I paid $79 when I got them. I could have gotten them for $69. So, you know, if you ever decide to do the build, it's up to you how much extra you want to get. There are aftermarket parts out there, lots of them. I'm not going to do much of the aftermarket parts. I look at them, and some of them, like doing little magazines and stuff like that, I don't think they're worth it, because I could go out and print them myself instead of paying 20 to 30 bucks for them. Sorry guys, thirsty. So the one thing that I did do is I've subscribed for an extra, I want to say it's $1 per pack. So where this would be I want to say $12.95, I'm paying $13.95. Yes, absolutely, bud, lots of money. But I'm paying an extra $1 a pack because it's going to come. I'm going to get a lucite box that goes over, a lucite acrylic box that'll go over top of it. All of them come with a base that they sit on, mirrored base, so you can see the bottom. The box on this one I think is pretty cool. They didn't offer it on the DeLorean, otherwise I'd have got it. You can get it aftermarket for about 120 bucks, 120, 130 bucks. Over 25 months, I'm actually going to pay about 100 bucks extra to get that box. Hey Kenny, how's it going? Doing the Ecto 1 finally. And it came down to a poll. We had 4 votes on the poll. There were 5 votes. I want to say it was Donnie that said he didn't care. Eric said he wanted Ecto 1. And when I asked again, Eric said he still wants Ecto 1. And so I said, fine. Next thing, I told him he couldn't vote twice. And next thing you know, dead people will be voting. So he had 2 dead guys vote. So we got 4 people voting for the Ecto 1, and nobody voted for anything else. So, back to where I was. Let me move this box out of the way. Let me double check. Is there anything inside the box? Nope. And my standard, guys, keeping screws. By the way, people who subscribed, I pre-subscribed to this thing, and so I got a little sticker. People who are subscribing now get a magnet instead. I want the magnet. I may call Elon Musk sometime and say, I want the magnet instead of this little sticker. I'm with you there, bud. I would love to have Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. So, interesting thing on the screws, just to give you an idea of how many different screws there are. The M's, the screws that are labeled M are for metal. The P's are for plastic. I'm up to RM and JP. There's a lot of different little screws in this build. Oh, and by the way, bud, another one that I would pick up when or if it comes out, they've threatened us with it a couple of times, is the 1966 Batman. And I'm also waiting for them to actually release the 1701D. It's 1/1000th scale. It's only going to be about this big, but it's going to be metal, and it's another one of these. It's going to be a pretty good build, I think. So, now let's get into the actual build. So first thing it says, and this is another one it's got lots of pictures, a little bit of words. I don't want to pay attention to the words much, but I think I have to with this because it's got wires running everywhere. So 35A, I believe that is this part here. This is the only thing I don't like, is I would love to have these call-outs on the same page as the instructions. Yeah, so 35A is the bottom of the gas tank. 35C is the battery box itself. I see why it looks like so much spaghetti, because it is on the bottom of the box. Okay, so indents on the tank like that. I'm missing something, because it says to put screws in, which is all well and good, but what am I screwing into? Okay, so this makes sense. Is facing outwards. Unless, hang on. Misread the instructions. This is not 35A. This part is 35A with the battery door. Now that makes a whole lot more sense. It's telling me to put screws into something, and I'm like, there's nothing to screw into. And these are IP, and anybody who's watched these videos before when I've got screws knows I do this. I'll put the screws away, because in these builds, unlike the Terminator, these builds, they give you a ton of extra screws. Get my screwdriver ready, and I need 4 of the IPs. There's 3 and 4. So put these 4 in. There's 1. Come on, don't cross thread. I know it's plastic and it's a plastic screw, but I still don't want to have it cross thread, and I think I've got a smaller head than I need on there. This one did, unlike the Terminator, this one did come with screwdrivers. I don't use them. I use the ones that I buy simply because the screwdrivers that they provide, actually, there's an extra screw. The screwdrivers they provide wear out. Not as bad as the one on the X-Wing. That's the first time I've seen one go that bad, that fast. The X-Wing one is actually, I've actually had it, on the cross point, I've had parts of the screwdriver itself break off while I'm putting parts on, and I wasn't torquing really hard. Okay. So these, this switch comes out here, like so. Bottom of the gas tank goes on. 4 more IP screws. His missing. That sounds better. That's better. I like the way they did this battery box, because I want to say the bottom of the battery box, yeah, I'm looking at the instructions, it looks like the bottom of the battery box, where the door is actually towards the bottom of the car. Hopefully, whoops, let me take that back off. Pinched wires, not good. Hopefully they will have provisions in this somewhere so that I can use a wall wart instead. Much prefer using wall power to batteries, because I'm pretty sure this thing, with the number of lights that are going to be in it, and I believe the blue light, the blue flashers on top are actually with little motors. That's going to burn through AAA batteries, which it takes pretty quick. If not, I have in the Ecto 1, I'll do the same thing. I'll buy a power supply that is switchable and can, it looks like basically it'll be one battery here with power on both ends and blanks all the way through, but they conduct power. So, okay. Come on. And that is the fuel tank. Okay, so, all right, let me set this back here. We'll be needing these straps. That's gonna be needed. The car is coming back, guys. Let's see, I need EM and BM. So let me get the screws in here. I'll go back and get the car. Bringing it back over, facing the opposite direction that it was before, because what I have to do is mount this part. It actually shows you putting it in from the bottom, but I don't need to do that. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to push it up from below. Wait a minute. Okay, yeah. Maybe I do. Maybe I need to see. Or rather than flipping it over. I've seen people flip it over while they're building it. But down here, your steering arm, which actually, when you turn the wheels, it will rotate the steering arm. This, until I built the firewall last time, was really in hazard of being bent. So I never flipped it over. I always do everything with it on its side. But in this case, I'm going to flip it over so that you guys can see what I'm doing. So this part here has got to fit in between these bracer bars, and it will just, well, before I put it in there. Let's see, where did I put it? So, you can see right here, there's a pin and 3 screw holes. Same on here. This pin will go in that pin hole, and those 3 screw holes will line up with the rest of them, with the other ones. Or they should. There. So now that's sitting flush. I can now flip the car over, holding that part in place. And then put the 3 screws in. I dropped my broken phone that I use as a camera. Those are IP screws, which I put over here. So 3 more IP screws. I'll tell you one thing, because you actually, it's not just because of the camera that I'm doing a lot of this stuff one-handed. You end up doing a lot of this one-handed so you can hold the parts together. So you get really good at holding stuff. Is that? Okay, that's got it to where I can do the other screws. Like I said, this gets interesting doing so much work black on black. A lot of times I'll put my cheaters on or my headlight on just so I can see what I'm doing, because it doesn't, there's not enough reflected light for me to really see it. All right, so that's in there solid. Roll the car back over. And I'll tell you guys, I'm grunting because this thing really is heavy. This, right now, this is probably about 10 pounds as it sits here right now. I want to say the car will be about 42 pounds when it's done. Okay, so here there is the A wire here, must be the main power wire, and then there's a power switch here. They get fed down through the hole. Let me double check. Okay. The tab for the battery box, to open the battery box, goes towards the front. That's a tight fit. And then there's, again, there's pin holes here and pins here. So pins and sockets for the gas tank to sit down. And of course I have it upside down. Sorry about that, guys. So there you can see here, it's the sockets, and these are the pins that'll go in there. It'll just roll over like that. And that is on there the way it's supposed to go. Let me know if the switching cameras is disorienting you guys at all. It just, to me, it gives me the opportunity to let you see a little bit better detail. These are literally just like the real thing. Gas tanks are usually held in by a strap or a band, and that's a metal band that holds this gas tank to the rest of the car. Kind of cool. These are the takes 2 or 4 BM screws for this. And down in here, I'm not going to switch over, there is a 4 screw holes that these line up with. There's actually in the tank itself grooves so that this will lay down just about perfect. Thanks, Eric. I just wanted to make sure. I like moving or switching the camera like that because it gives me a better chance of giving you guys looks at details that I couldn't get you to any without doing that. So this is one of those times I was talking about where I'm doing black on black and it's really difficult. That one's threaded. Normally I would go on 4 screws, I'd go cross, but since this is 4 screws but 2 straps, I'm doing each strap, getting it at least threaded. Come on. And that one may have too much paint in the hole. That's part of the problem, is the threads that they cut into the metal on the car, They then painted it. I'm not sure if they sprayed it or they dipped it. But some of the times you've got paint down inside the screw hole, so it's a little bit of a pain to get the screw to go in. Of course, on the other hand, I'm looking, and from where I'm looking, what I can see, I was missing the hole. I was just scratching paint. Maybe. Okay. Almost looks like they failed to drill this one out. Interesting. Let's see. Not one to let something like that slow me down too much. Kind of funny. I use these same bits. I use these same bits on plastic. Yeah, that is solid. It has not been drilled out. And I just broke the bit. Let me see if I can get this to go in there, because I'm not concerned about the bit. I'm more concerned about getting the screw in there. I don't think that it was them completely missed drilling it. I think what it is that it just something boogered it up after it was drilled. It absolutely is, Kenny. I want to say it's 39 inches long when it's done. Okay. Okay. Hey, I got one of them too. As a matter of fact, it's probably what I'm going to do on New Year's Eve is start drilling about 4,802 windows on that Titanic. Not sure if that's an exact number, but it's pretty close. Okay. Bonus points, real destruction during the show. I think, is that a piece of metal that curled off, or is that, nope, drill bit's over here. that's just some of the metal that peeled off of it. So let's try this again. Not bad for a little battery operated drill. There's the drill bit from earlier. That may have actually been what was blocking the hole. See? Now, let me see if I can get a screw to go down into that hole. If I can, we're in business. If not, I'm going to get it in as far as it'll go and deal with it later. Probably just super glue it. Yeah, I'm just going to deal with that later, if I even worry about it, because once that screws in there, especially with it being as bad off as it is, it might just hold, but without being all the way in. And it's not like it's got to, this has actually got to be roadworthy. Come on. One bad part about having a magnetic screwdriver when you're putting something in, that strap is actually probably, I don't think it's steel, it might be, but it's magnetic. And I honestly think I could probably, if I wanted to, just strap this down with this one strap, leave the other one completely off, and it would never, you'd never know the difference. Oops. Almost put that bit back in the wrong spot. It's kind of funny too, because if I really wanted to, I could call up Eagle Moss and say, I need this part because this screw hole is not drilled right and I can't get the screw in, and they would send it to me. It's just that I'm not going back that far. This part that this is part of, I want to say this frame piece is actually from here, this triangle, back to here. I'm not taking the car down that much because of one screw. That's not coming out. Let me tighten this back one and we'll be in business. All right, it wants some brute force. Stop pounding on my engine. Might be able to do that with this one too. All right, I just hope that popping isn't things breaking. I'm going to switch cameras for you guys real quick and show you why I didn't. Nothing broke, but it's really, to me, bad the way it is set up. So, if you remember, I told you I don't like to flip the car over. That's because that right there, it's not broke, but I don't like the way it's actually touching, because like I said, I don't know if you can see it, but when I turn the wheels, here, actually I can see it up here better. When I turn the wheels, that arm that you see moving there moves the steering wheel. Again, not something that's all that important. Man, that's loose. The screw's tight. I'll have to check it on the top side. Not something that's all that important in the grand scheme of the model, but it's still something I don't like to break parts of the model while I'm building it. Okay, flip it over one more time. Let me take a look. Yeah, actually, if you look, the reason that one part is so loose is that this wiggles. Once this goes through the dash, I'm pretty sure it will be solid. So the last part of this, we're only on the first stage of this, guys. This is pretty impressive tonight. So the last part of this wire is just going to hang out here. This is where all the power to the rest of the model is going to go. Seems like a lot of power, a lot of pressure put on that one little plug. And here, back here is where the power switch goes, and that is 2 EM screws. I do. Actually, it's funny you say that. The Ecto, or not the Ecto, the DeLorean had little blocks to lift it up off of the ground. It also had wheels that would collapse underneath it, that you could, for the flight mode. And I've seen people lube their screws as they're putting them in, or sit there and put them in and back them out, put them in, back them out. I believe in the brute force method. Sorry guys, I'm just looking for a different screwdriver. See if I can get these to go in a little bit better. I guess I'll take them back out. Don't have any type of lube. Try putting them back in. Little tiny impact wrench. What you guys hear is if you hear that squeak, I'm actually crushing the shocks down. It does have working shocks, and that's the tire hitting the inside of the wheel well. Still not all the way down. Nope. Actually, you know what? When all else fails on a cross point, just because I've done this, I've had to do this taking things apart. Yeah, that's going a little bit. That's one side down all the way. I'm actually using a flathead screwdriver right now inside a cross point screw. Okay, that's going to have to be good enough. I don't want to mess up the screw, and I don't want to mess up the screwdriver. And the switch is solid there. So this wire will run up there. And that's what this should look like at this point. So that is the end of stage 35. More parts. Stage 36. Little parts. Matter of fact, there is one for the gas tank. Looks like steering wheel and levers, turn signal levers. Well, actually gear shift and turn signal. So it has this part sliding down inside of this part here. And there is a flat side on there. You can see the flat on the part, the piece that's towards where my index finger is. That's flat there. There's a flat spot on here, which is going to hold, once this goes together, it's going to hold these like this. There's a little bit of play, but not very much, and I'm sure once it's screwed down, there's even less. Okay, combining the stock spot. That's all it says right now for those. With the steering wheel. Not sure. I think that might end up being the horn. I think it's part of this. I know it's part of the steering wheel. 2 IP screws and that pipe. That's what that is. Okay, that makes sense. So we're gonna, let's see. I'm gonna roll it up on its side. That goes right next to that switch. Instead of rolling it all the way over, I'm just gonna, no. I'm rolling it all the way over again because I keep forgetting you guys can't see it if I don't roll it over. So this pipe has a pin in it. It's got a pin right there. There's a hole right here. Pin goes in the hole. Pin should go in the hole. Ah, flat spot on the pin. Oh, there's the problem. I'm trying to put it to this hole. It goes to this hole here. So that once that's down there, the pin should actually fit in like so. I mean, you can see right there, detail that is, you wouldn't expect in a model like this. At least I wouldn't. Because what that is the fuel filler cap. Eric, how soon are you building that for me? I need it now. This is an IP, so let me put the spare away. So this screw will go in here. That's pulling that part up. That pipe is, yeah. So the pipe is now solid. Doesn't need to be glued. It could have been glued, but there's no reason to glue it into the tank because it actually is held in place by the friction and by the angle of the pipe itself. Let me double check because it is a little bit wiggly. Yeah, I'm not going to glue that. Let me see. Probably says I'm supposed to. Note, keep the steering wheel, center cap, and stocks separately so they can be added to the assembly later. So I'm going to pull those two back apart and put the steering wheel back in here because all that actually got added to the kit in this one was that pipe. And there are stages like that where you get parts, they give you a couple parts to do stuff, and then they give you parts to hold on to for later. This one was a hold on to for later. And let me double check. Cool. I'm going to move this out of the way because we're working on the dashboard. And the way these kits are actually built or designed with a one pack at a time expectation because they come from England. And so what they do over there is in the news vendors, in newspaper stands is where they sell them. They buy these one week at a time, and so like this one, issue 36 would have been a disappointment because you wouldn't have had anything or hardly anything to do. But issue 37 then comes along, and there's actually quite a bit to do. And I believe, if I remember right, the brake lights are supposed to work, which means this is going to have a switch eventually attached to it. Yep, definitely, because right here is where it's going to go in. And I know this from having done the DeLorean. It's going to go in here like that, and there's going to be something, it's going to be held in, and something is going to get hit when you push it down. So, but I digress and actually get ahead of the what it's telling me to do. First thing it has me do, flip it over this way, take this part here and two of the JP screws that I just got. This one's the smaller one. Turn it that way. The one thing I might do, and probably not, one mod I might do to the Ecto one is the carpet, but I don't see spending almost $50 for the carpet for an aftermarket. I might do like I did with the DeLorean. I'll have to wait and see, because getting the DeLorean together got to be a real pain in the butt when I got to it, because I used some really thin felt that I glued down myself. Looks really good. Looks like carpet. Royal pain in the butt later on in the model. So this is actually the firewall, guys, up underneath. Actually, looking at it, so this is going to be inside of the car. This is the engine compartment. What I just did was put 2 screws in here to hold that piece on there. Over here, it's the exact same thing, opposite direction. This one's a little bit bigger than that, the other one. Screw in, just loosely. Other screw in. So that's that side. That side. Like I said before, black on black gets really frustrating a little bit. Wow. And that is the end of stage 37. Stage 38, which is unfortunately is the last stage I currently have for the Ecto one, which bugs me no end with post office. I mean, we've all been bashing the post office, but it's kind of ridiculous that according to the what I see on Pitney Bowes and the post office has had issue 12 since the 18th. And the sad part is, it's had issues 12 here in O'Fallon, sitting in the post office for a week now. Or actually for almost 2 weeks. Post office has gotten really bad this year. This should probably light up Eric's eyes, pun intended, because this, let's see if I can, oh, hang on, I can do it. Where is, okay, we'll do it this way instead. So that right there is a micro switch. Button, 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 button. So 4 buttons. Micro switch. Actually, there's 5 buttons. That micro switch there is for the brakes. Kind of cool. Actually, I don't know. They look efficient. I like the way they look. Let me see, hang on. Where's my camera? There. That's a micro switch. And what's going to happen is where that black plastic piece is where the brake pedal, part of the brake pedal is going to hit and make that contact. And it will make the brake lights work whenever you step on the brakes. Kind of cool. They did it in the did it in the DeLorean as well. It is 1/8 scale, which is sad that the figures that they sent as a special are 1/16. If the figures were 1/6, 1/10, if they were close to the size of the car, I would take them out and put them next to the car. But as they stand right now, they would be like tiny Batman standing next to the car. Or his cohort who needs to be painted, not yet painted Bane. Drinking a little bit of eggnog that my son got me for Christmas with bourbon in it. Okay. So the first part here is going to be the micro switch with the EP screws. The micro switch is going to run across. Oh, okay. Find it. See if I can keep from blinding you again this time. On the switch itself. I don't know if you can see, there's a pin on the side of the switch, and there's 2 holes on the part. The pin will go in one, the screw will go in the other to hold the micro switch in place. See the hole? You can see the screw hole on the micro switch. So see if I can get that in there. And that's the thing, is that it doesn't, barely holds in there. That's why you need the screw. I could do that, Donnie, but it's going into a room that is going to be crammed rather quickly with as much as I've been building this year. And speaking of which, I made a decision earlier today. I'm not going to try to get the protector done. I'd rather get the protector done right than in time to have 19 models this year. It just means that in January I'll finish 2 models. Even though they were started this year, they still count towards the total finished models for next year. And next year is going to be a much lower count because I have a I have a lot of big models going on. The centerpiece is going to be the Titanic. My 1/200 scale Titanic. I mean, I'm already planning on hanging starships from the ceiling because that's how much is going to end up in there. Either the Titanic or the Millennium Falcon could end up being the centerpiece. Okay, so I got the micro switch in there. Now I got to drop the brake pedal in here. Yep. Drop the brake pedal in here. And then this part goes over top of it, holding it in place at this end. Needs 2 screws. 2 more of the EP screws. Let's see if I can get this first one in. it's threaded. I think I do. I have a huge cross tip in there. Much better. And this one will go in here like this. Tighten both of them down. And I've got to be careful not to snap anything while tightening this one down because it's not playing nice and I'm out of camera. And here's something I do on these guys to check and make sure it's centerpiece should be a star of the room. Titanic is not a star ship. But the Millennium Falcon is a star ship. And it may be the centerpiece. So what I was saying is what I do, guys, on these screws is once I get them in there, I try and make sure I can't get my fingernail underneath. So now, you can see, let's see if you can see it. It's out of focus. There. You can see how the micro switch works. You step on the brake, brakes off, brakes on, brakes off, brakes on. That is actually really similar to the way a real brake works. And just looking at this, I was thinking that this was the firewall. It's not actually the firewall, just looking at the way it's shaped or the way it's formed. Because the brake comes out of it like this is actually going to be the bottom of the dash. This was what was this? EP. Let me put the screws away. Oh man, they give me all these wires, all this stuff. First name. You guys make me laugh. They give me all these wires, give me some lights, and nothing to do with them. This is actually the end of it, and so like I was showing earlier, we've got 3 or 4 push buttons, 5th one here, not sure what they're going to do, not sure where this goes, but this and this will go into the box along with this part here for hopefully not very long. You know, I know I've got parts due in from them like a couple of weeks ago, because what they've been doing is they're supposed to charge me once a month. They actually charge about every 3 weeks. I don't argue with them because that way I keep getting parts. I've heard a lot of people, or I've read about a lot of people complaining because they're not getting parts from the Ecto one. So I figure I'm not gonna upset the apple cart. I'm gonna let things be. Man, this thing is so big. It doesn't even fit in the box. I'm gonna let things be so that I continue to get parts. Very carefully set this in here, trying not to break my brake pedal. So that's it for tonight on the Ecto 1, guys. I can bring back the baby Ecto. I still love this car. And I love the way that the lights start off. So, I'm going to call it a stream. I'm glad you guys stopped by. Anybody who is not a member Hobby Link International should stop by Hobby Link International and see what it's all about, especially if you're a model builder. Great bunch of guys over there. We have a lot of fun. Great place to ask any questions. Get hints on how to do things. I've got I got some downloaded some plans from there for the it did shrink rate. Nah, Donnie, I'd love to, but we're at an hour and a half. I try not to go over 2 hours. X-Wing will be next week. And then we'll get back to the, and X-Wing actually will be next week for at least one pack or one month, maybe two, because I actually have 8 packs currently that I currently have for the X-Wing. Unfortunately, they're all the same ones. It's unfortunate and fortunate at the same time because they're the same ones I've done before. It's one more wing, and it's starting to work on the cockpit, but I have not yet bought the mod for the cockpit. I plan on buying the mod from Falcon 3D Parts. I know you guys don't, but I have to save it for so I have stuff for next time. But oh wow, that's dusty. But I'm gonna order the part from Falcon 3D Parts for the cockpit. It enhances what it looks like so much. It's got photo etch. It's got an acrylic piece to do all the lighting, to make all the lights work. It's gonna be a pretty good edition. I will probably do a live stream on that edition once I get it. Listen to Kenny's old stuff. Or go, well, I got a couple videos up there. I'm sure you've seen them all. Speaking of videos, not going to live stream it, but I am, the light kit, the Starship Basic Flasher, not light kit, but board diagram that's up on the site. I'm going to be building that soon. I'm gonna do not a stream. I'm gonna do an actual just a video of it because that way, if it takes 4 hours, I'm not boring people to tears. Plus, more importantly, my solder station is on the complete other end of the room. Matter of fact, let me switch. Yeah, if you can see back there where Goofy is, my soldering station is on that wall. So it doesn't help it's not easy to try and live stream from back there. Also got to work on that Titanic, and I will do a live stream at some point of drilling the 500 or so portholes in the Titanic. Because it's coming. It was my plan to start it on or about the 1st of January. What I'm going to actually do is I'm not, a lot of people have done out-of-box reviews. I'm not going to do an out-of-box review. Everybody's done, there's so many out-of-box reviews, it's ridiculous. What I'm going to do is as I pull it out, I'm going to, sorry, couldn't help myself. We will look at Goofy Christmas. We will. An 8-hour show for drilling out those portholes on the Titanic is at least 8 hours, if not a couple of weeks. My 1/350 scale, which is only this is 24 inches, so it's 30 inches. My 1/350 scale Titanic had about 500 has about 500 holes in it, and I drilled them all out. I drilled them all out using my Dremel and built up a lot of plastic on it. I'm not going to do it. This little guy is going to be my best friend. I'm gonna probably, just a rough guess, he runs off a 2 AA's, and I'm showing you guys something off screen. Okay, let's try it this way. This little guy is gonna be my best friend while I'm drilling those out. He runs off a 2 AA's. Didn't have him last time. I used my Dremel last time, and it. That's funny, Kenny. We both drill and see who gets done first. Yes, but I actually think the Titanic has more windows than the Enterprise, by far. I want to say there's about 500 windows on the Titanic, and they're different sizes, so that's going to be interesting. And when I did the 350 scale, I used my Dremel and kept building up plastic on here, so some of my holes got larger, some of them were oblonged a little bit. Only thing that's been holding me back. You're right, Kenny. They wouldn't all be lit, but that ship looks so cool with everything lit up. Birdshot, yes. Yes, indeed. But of course, somebody is doing a Titanic that has already sunk. Matter of fact, speaking of the Titanic, let me turn off the Ecto 1A. I shouldn't be playing with this box kit because I'm shipping it to somebody, Eric, and I have built the Frankenbox to fit it. Wow, didn't realize that piece was falling off. It's a little bit of work to be done. I'm not sure how I can get it to where you guys can see it. Let me try the Droid Cam. Focus. Let me see. Again, it's trying to focus on black. It doesn't like black. Cameras never like black. Hang on. You can see up there. Okay, those aren't the actual portholes, but right below every one of them is a little porthole all along there. Got my fingers in front of it. That's probably not helping it. You can almost see the windows. Up here you can see some of the bigger ones. But there is probably anywhere between, on this one, this is a 350 scale, anywhere between 6 and 8 portholes per inch on this thing. And they're all different sizes. It's not a bad kit. This, like I said, this is a 350. It's a used one. I picked it up used. Otherwise, this part would not be out of whack the way it is. I know what Eric's planning on doing with it, so I think it's really good that he's getting it. It's pre-started. Man, not to knock other modelers, but I don't know if you can see that. Right here, you can see where the sprue was attached. I hate that. Okay, I'm going to stop rambling. But yeah, this is the 350 scale. It's not the same one that I have. It's a different different company. Matter of fact, to get the whole thing in shot, I can't actually. Not on this camera. Those are the decals inside there. This is also a pretty good kit. This when I built mine was a really fun kit. That's where I learned how to do my lighting, how I learned to light block. I spent a lot of quality time with this stuff. I want to say this is the second roll I've owned. Thanks, Eric. Hey, and I'm glad you like it because that's the one I'll be shipping you. Like I said, behind me is the Frankenbox. I've taken 2 boxes, cut the corners out, and I'm sliding it together to make 1 box. But no, the 350 scale is a lot of fun. I learned to light. I learned to light block. Even though the hull is black, let me double check. Yeah, this is a 2-piece hull. The one I did was a 2-piece hull. The 200 having a 1-piece hull is awesome. And I might do some drilling, but I really can't see. It's good. It's fun to joke about it, but I really can't see drilling all those holes in one sitting. I didn't do it on the small one. And I use the Dremel. This thing, my little handy drill here is going to wear out. I'm going to break several of these. Probably before I start doing that, I need to lay in a supply of them. So, well, guys, it has been fun. Oh, don't want to lose those. Those are also they're not decals per se, but those are the flags that go on the model. You got the White Star, you got the British. What is that one? Is that Australian? And when I get ready to start the 200 scale, the first thing I'll do, getting back to that, rather than doing a out of box review showing everybody what parts are in it, I'm going to do a video with the box, and then I'm going to do a video. In the video, I'm going to show what I'm about to do, and I'm going to show all the aftermarket parts I've got for that thing. Because I'm putting that's going to be my magnum opus. I'm putting a bunch of bucks into that thing. So much so that I usually do my own lighting, and I'm actually going to be buying a light kit for it because the light kit has lights, sounds. It's got a 25-minute random recycling audio stream. It is going to be awesome. It's probably going to take up most of 2021 for me, and I'm looking forward to it. But I also have some of the group builds that I'm also in, so I got to get those done as well. So, like I said, guys, I'm going to call it a night. Anybody who is not a member of HLI, go over there, take a look at the site, join. It's a great place to be. It's a great place, great bunch of modelers, led by Kenny Conklin. Great guy, does a lot for the community. Really glad that I ran into him, through the internet. And so, with that, guys, I'm going to call it a night, and I will catch you next time. Have a great evening, and if I don't talk to you before then, have a great New Year.